Hi, I'm Brien Lundin of Gold Newsletter, and I am here at the Toronto Metals Investor Forum, where I'm talking with a lot of wonderful companies here that are in the Gold Newsletter portfolio, not the least of which is a new arrival in my portfolio, a re-entry in my portfolio, because I had it recommended about a year or so ago for a while. It's Hawthorn Resources, and Ralph Shearing is the CEO here to talk to us about it. Hawthorn is a company where I liked the group behind it, and it was early stage, and that's why I originally recommended it. But I was waiting for the big deal. Mm-hmm. Well, you've certainly got the big deal here, Ralph, huh?
Well, we think we have. It's a nice deal. I joined the company about 5 months ago, mm-hmm. and we found a project in Nevada, and it looks good. I really like it. Well, and I have a fairly good history of successful company in the past as well. I was the founder and incubator and was with Luca Mining for 25 plus years. So.
Which is working out great for everyone, readers of my newsletter and me personally as a shareholder.
These days it's doing great. Yeah.
So you can spot a value and spot potential. And so Hawthorn, don't keep them in suspense any longer, has a wonderful silver project in the Silver State.
That's correct. In Nevada, we are doing a deal with purchasing a Nevada private corporation, which has basically two projects in one. One is a carbonate replacement silver, lead, zinc, and gold project, and manganese, by the way. And manganese is fairly important in this story. And it also has a porphyry copper moly target, which has been said to be one of the best targets in Nevada that hasn't had any drilling on it. It's only had about 6 holes drilled so far.
And that's like a bonus project that has some potential down the road.
Absolutely.
The thing that's been causing a lot of excitement in the market recently, and since you made this announcement, is the silver project. And the reason being is that you have a very clear, and I would say high confidence path toward establishing a compliant resource in that project. Exactly. A lot of work done previously. Mm-hmm. And the value comps for that project, companies with similar size resources to what you would like to confirm, have market caps that are 8 to 15 times your current market cap.
Yeah, so to explain that a little bit, the project we have an exploration target that's over 100 million ounces of silver equivalent. Now, we call it an exploration target because it was developed by the previous owners who were buying the company from, and it was calculated to JORC standards, which was the Australian JORC standards, but it never was published because it didn't quite make it, because a lot of the historic drill holes didn't have QA/QC data for them. So there's 160 holes into this project already, and it outlines an exploration target of 24 to 40 million tons of potential ore with good grades, like 60 to 80 grams per ton silver, half a gram gold, lead and zinc numbers are good. So we're looking at this as an open pit target. With all the drill holes, we're going to go back in. We're raising money right now. As we speak, we're in the middle of a raise. And when we complete that, and then we complete the deal, which is going to take us about 2 months to do all of the paperwork, because we're actually buying the company and issuing shares to the vendors for that. Once that's done, the funds out of the placement will be released to us, and we're going to do a drill program. The idea is to go back in and twin a few holes, as well as do infill drilling. And the twin holes are to confirm the old drilling.
Yeah, and that will bring into compliance previous holes
as long as the twin holes we make are similar, plus or minus a percentage, then that allows us to bring all of the historic drilling into an updated resource calculation.
And you won't have to do those holes yourself.
Correct. So it's like an exploration project that already has 160 drill holes in it. Yeah. So if we're successful in this and we infill drilling, we could maybe increase that number. Now, we're hoping we can do this in the first exploration phase, the first drilling, which once the placement closes, the deal closes, we'll be able to implement in the summer of this year. And possible there'll be enough information to get the resource, but it could take one more raise and into next year to come up with the new 43-101 compliant resource. And we expect that to be north of 100 million ounces of silver. That would be the target.
And-
Silver
and-
equivalent, by the way.
Silver equivalent in Nevada. When we were talking equivalents, does that include manganese or
No,
does
we
it
didn't
not?
include the manganese in that.
Which is
That's
important.
A value added, yeah.
There are, I've done a little bit of study on the manganese market in other companies recently. There's not a lot of other manganese stories out there, or even part of their story, but there are some that where the manganese is as much or more value to the rock than even the silver or other elements.
Yeah, I mean,
other minerals.
It's $4 a pound for good quality manganese, and we have about 3 to 4% in that exploration target so far. So those are
So
good
really,
numbers.
that manganese is selling for more than, or similar to rather, the price of copper per pound.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, if you were to have a 3 to 4% copper deposit, that would be pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's a story that is underappreciated. And of course, metallurgy is a whole other thing. But typically, the science has come to the point where that is very economically.
That's very true. There's a number of companies that are successfully producing the way we would want to produce. So we have metallurgical testing to do, no doubt, but it would be hydromet type of a system. You put everything in a solution and you pull it out of solution. So you'd get the zinc first, followed by manganese, and then you would get your lead and precious metals out in the last stage.
Yeah.
It's proven to work. We believe it can work for us.
So you're raising, I believe, you have to raise between $3.5 and $4 million. I think you're pretty easily going to hit the $4 million mark.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting there.
Yeah, so that's a really good raise. From what I have been able to see, you've got some smart investors coming into that. I say that because I'm one of them, of course, or hoping to be one of them.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about the story because I was an investor in it at a much earlier stage before you had this project. But more broadly speaking, I believe, and I said in my presentation today in front of the crowd, that I think silver is going to make a big catch-up move here. It hasn't quite leveraged gold to the point that we had hoped it would yet. But there are a number of things working on the supply-demand, specifically very tight supplies right now industrially, that show that silver could make a big move right now. I hearken back to the spring of 2016 when junior silver plays were what everybody wanted to get into, and we had companies that went up 4 or 5 times in value over the span of a few months. I think that's coming again in this market that's seen gold do so well. So I've been on the lookout for really good high-powered silver plays. It seems to me Hawthorn might be one of those.
Well, I'm convinced it is. I mean, and I've had some success in the past. I can recognize a good project.
Yeah.
And I love this project. And it not only has the silver, it's got the added upside of that porphyry copper target to the north.
And market cap right now is around $8 million or so.
Yeah, around $8 million.
Yeah. And so if you were an $8 million company that had a head start on potentially proving a silver resource of that size, that would seem to be a good value to me.
Yeah, I mean, our closest peer, I guess, would be about 64 million market cap with 125 million ounces of silver equivalent. So there's some really good growth potential in Hawthorn.
And share structure is pretty tight.
Very,
right?
very tight. So we're going to have about 30.7 million shares issued when we close the deal with through the acquisition, and then we add on the shares from the private placement. So we'll be a very tight vehicle. Not a lot of shares out there. So the movement on this company could be very, very good.
And drilling will commence as quickly as possible thereafter?
Yeah, as soon as we close, I would anticipate sometime in the summer we'll be able to start the drill program this summer.
So lots of news, lots of value creation, and a very clear path. Ralph, I'm very excited about the story. I'm a shareholder. We recommended it in Gold Newsletter. It's working for everyone, but man, the upside from here, from these levels, just seems
it's very good in my
remarkable.
opinion. Yeah, it's a great project. It's one that I fully supported the company acquiring. It's got all kinds of potential and has 160 drill holes already in it.
A head start.
Bet.
Great. So Hawthorn Resources, and looking forward for a lot of news this summer.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.